apply. I need to sign into chat. Open in web browser. Go back here. Stop. Stop. I need to make this window bigger, just a hair. Now we kick it and see what's popping. Now we kick it and see what's going on. I'm excited for this thing. Hopefully, it's all the rage what people make it out to be. What's going on, Savvy the Gamer? How you doing, dude? Bender, what's going on? Well, technically you're second, but I'm accounted anyways. What's going on, Tyler? What's going on, guys? So, we'll let some more people swing in, but you guys are aware the new BRZ drops tomorrow. Is anyone else excited for this, or is it just me right now? I'm going to be waking up stupid early to start going. I'm going to make a video on this thing as soon as it comes out tomorrow. So actual specs get dropped in 13 hours, 24 minutes, or whatever it is. So as soon as Subaru releases the specs on this thing, you guys should have an extra video tomorrow going over everything that Subaru is projecting to do with this thing. But based off of what we've seen so far, like, I'm pretty hyped for it. I'm pretty stoked for the new BRZ. If it seems like it might be all the rage, it might be something that I snag and trade the current BRZ in for, maybe. I don't know yet. We'll see what the specs actually say when actually Subaru announces everything. What's going on, Zekai? Damn it, you know, it is what it is, man. Yo, what's up? Love your vids. Hey, appreciate it, James. Dude, I'm hyped for it. I'm glad I'm not the only one who's hyped for the new BRZ. I am stoked for this thing when Subaru decides to release it tomorrow. Definitely looking forward to the specs that are going to end up coming with it. What's up, my dude? Time to trade in the 13 BRZ. That's what I'm saying. If there's a big if on this one, if the 2022 BRZ seems like it might be something that I might want to snag. I am like considering trading in the 13 BRZ for it. This isn't going to be out for another like year or so, but they're releasing all the specs tomorrow. So if everything kind of lines up, I mean, we have a year to play with the BRZ until it might come time to trade it in for 2022. Who knows? The BRZ going to be Gyode? Gyode? I don't know what's going on there. What up, dude? Hyped. Time to trade in the STI. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I was about to say, it's a pretty big jump right there. Pretty hyped about this drop. Same. From what people were rendering it out to look like, if this is what it looks like, I mean, it doesn't look crazy different from the current, like, generation BRZ. If it does end up looking like this one, I mean, maybe just doing a front-end swap on a lot of the current ones, but no one really has any... Oh, dear God, I hope that's not the back of it. I hope that's just like a weird rendering. I'm guessing it is because that looks like a weird DeLorean thing. I don't know what rabbit hole I've gone down here. But, based off what I've seen so far, is that a wagon BRZ? Give me that. That's what I want right there. Pretty hyped about this drop. That's what I'm saying. It's been far too long since they've actually put any changes into the BRZ. I mean, in 2017 or 2018 when they did the minor revisions, they gave it a different intake manifold, bumped up the horsepower by like 5-wheel horsepower. Yeah, I mean, it was fun, it was cool, it was chill, but it wasn't really a real change. They just did a facelift, they increased horsepower by 5. So I mean, we'll see what it does. It's supposed to have the naturally aspirated FA24 in it. So if that's the case, hopefully that engine has some potential in it. We'll see what's going on with it. I'm super hyped. I'm wondering if it's going to be all-wheel drive. So I don't think it's going to be all-wheel drive. I don't see Subaru changing the BRZ lineup and making it all-wheel drive. If they do, I think that might steer away a lot of people. It might bring in a new crowd. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I think it would steer away a lot of enthusiasts because something that makes the BRZ so nice is that it's rear-wheel drive. It's just like the traditional sports car. It's front engine, manual transmission, rear-wheel drive. I mean, if they did make it like an all-wheel drive as an option that you could get, I think that would sell pretty well, but I don't think if they put the BRZ only as an all-wheel drive car that it would retain the sales that it currently has. I also don't think it would be as much fun as it would, well, as it currently is. It would be lit. Will probably be an FA24. So from what I've seen, like what everyone is doing, or what Subaru is at least doing with the FA24 lineup, is they're using the FA24 in almost all of their cars now. The Outback, the Forester, the Ascent, the new STI, the new WRX, the BRZ. It seems like the FA24 is just going to end up being the one singular go-to engine. I don't really know if that's really a smart move by Subaru. Maybe it is. It might just make manufacturing costs a lot cheaper too, since you're using pretty much the same platform across every single car that you're producing. I don't I don't know if the FA24 will be worth it. From what I saw, which are leaked specs, which don't take for like 100% like credit on this one or factual, is what I heard was the BRZ with the naturally aspirated FA24 should come in at around, it was like 217 horsepower and like 170 foot-pounds of torque. It's really not that big of an increase over the current BRZ. The current BRZ is only around, what is it, 205 right now and like 160. So, I mean, if it is around that, like, 12 horsepower bump, we'll see. We'll find out factual information tomorrow from Subaru when they actually drop the information. So, I'm pumped for it. I'm excited to see what they're actually going to be doing with it. What did you do to break in your ACT clutch on the STI? I don't have an ACT clutch on the STI, but just to break in a clutch, just drive around town. Do some, like, freeway driving a little bit, just kind of breaking the clutch. My friend is planning on getting the 2022 model after I got him into the car scene. That's what I'm saying. Like, this design right here, just based off of what I can see off that headlight, I mean, I like the body lines. I like the headlight style. It looks a lot like the 400Z, though. Nissan's concept for the new Z series, so I want to see actual full renders from Subaru. I know they did the thing at, like, Big Northwest or whatever it was, where they had this thing inside of, like, a big crate. So, we'll see what it actually looks like. But I'm excited. What does the rear end look like? I'm not a huge fan of what I can see there, but I like that. That's a Supra though. It's like a Supra BRZ or Supra FRS. If that's a new GT86, I really like that also. What's going on, dude? What's up? Hope your day is going well so far. It's not too bad. What did I do today? I don't even know what I did. Put a new dash cam in the BRZ because Blackview sent me one to test, but that was about it. A wagon BRZ would be lit. That's what I'm saying. Where'd that... Oh, geez. What did I just do? Ooh, yellow? Ooh. I like the wagon versions that people render out on these. I think they look good. 2022 hatchback BRZ. If we got the BRZ in a hatchback, I'd be all over that. I don't even care how much power it made. Where's that render? That render has forever disappeared in the internet now. If they came out with a hatchback variant of this car, I would 100% get behind it. I would 100% buy that thing. Groovy, what's going on, dude? Hey, what up, man? Really loved the video earlier. It was a really good idea for a discussion video. Thanks, dude. It was just a random, like, topic idea that I had just pop into my head the other day. I mean, I thought it was a fun video to make, so I enjoyed it. I'm glad you liked it, my friend. Any news on the new STI drop? Nope. No actual factual information from Subaru about when the new STI is supposed to drop. I did like a whole bunch of calculations the other day based off of the FA20 engine to try to project how much horsepower the new STI is going to make with the FA24. My numbers just weren't making sense from what everyone was rumored. Everyone's rumoring the new STI to be making like 400 wheel horsepower, 360 foot-pounds of torque. I really don't see that happening. I think Subaru's going to kind of dial it back quite a bit. I could see the new STI coming in at around like 350 horsepower and maybe like 320 foot-pounds of torque. But I think just 400 horsepower coming out of the STI from the factory with the FA24, it's just not something that's going to happen. I mean, if you look at what Prime Motoring did with the FA24 that they put in a 2013 Crosstrack, they did ethanol, they did an FP Blue turbo, all supporting mods, and that thing hit 500 wheel horsepower on the stock long block. From I believe it was a stock long block. I know the short block wasn't touched. They might have done a little bit to the heads, but I don't see the FA24 and the STI going to be making 400 wheel horsepower. It's just... We'll see what happens. There's no factual information from Subaru yet on what the FA24 and the STI is supposed to make, or even the BRZ for that matter. So, I mean, for the BRZ, we'll at least find out tomorrow. For the STI, whenever they decide to project and release those numbers, we'll see what they actually drop for it. But, definitely interested. Wonder what the price will be. I'm going to guess that the new BRZ is going to come in at around... How much is a current BRZ if you were to build one? Just a base. A base BRZ is $28,000? I thought they were like 25 or something like that. That's a lot. I'm going to guess that the new BRZ is probably going to be around 30,000. Base price starting at like 30,000 for this new one. We'll see though. We'll find out. We will find out tomorrow. I don't know. I actually have no... What is this? STI lineup? What all comes in the STI lineup? Is it just the STI? 2019 S209? Is that all they have in here? It's just STIs. The 2020 BRZ TS. Okay, I guess. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious to see this whole setup tomorrow when the new BRZ stuff drops. Thoughts if current gen BRZ will drop in price when 20... Yeah, I do. I see... Well, I don't know. It depends on how the new 2022 BRZ is going to be, if it correlates to the dropping prices of other ones. If the 2022 BRZ just completely tanks and it's not a good car at all, I foresee the 2013 to 2021 models going up in price because people are going to want the older gens if they don't like the newer generation. But if the newer generation comes out and it's actually noticeably better than the current 2013s up to 2021s, then I do see the older BRZ prices dropping. It's the weird BRZ FRS prices kind of freak me out a little bit. Like back in 2015, BRZ and FRS prices were dropping. You could pick up like an FRS for $10,000 with a clean title. Nowadays, if you go to buy like a 2013 FRS base with like 60,000 miles on it, it's like $14,000-$15,000 now. So the weird price fluctuation with the GT86 chassis is all over the place. But as for if it's going to drop in price when this new one comes out, we'll see. Kind of all depends on if people actually like the 2022 model when specs get released, when people start driving them. I'd like to go test drive one of these after they come out, solely based on what we hear tomorrow on the specs. What is it? It drops at like 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'm definitely curious on what the specs are actually going to be on that one. I heard it was going to be turbocharged. I don't foresee Subaru turbocharging the BRZ from the factory. I think it would, personal opinion here, I think that a turbocharged BRZ would pull sales away from the WRX and their STI lineup. I think that keeping the BRZ naturally aspirated, it puts it in its own niche for like sports cars. But I don't think they're going to turbocharge it. We'll 100% find out tomorrow, but we'll see. Vague rumors. There have been a lot of vague rumors. Wasabi, my ninja. Wasabi, my ninja. What's up? I'm trying to like incorporate in wasabi. Wasabi. Unless they make an STI-like model with a turbo. If they were to make... So if you think about it, if the base price for the 2022 BRZ, we'll say is $30,000, because the current base price for 2020 Subaru BRZ or 2021 BRZ is $28,000. So we'll say they bump up the base price $2,000 to accommodate all the new technology, all the updates and everything they did on that. If you were to add an STI package on top of that, we'll say it came with like Recaros, Brimbos, a turbo setup, everything like that, I could easily see the BRZ getting into like the $38,000 to $40,000 range out of the market, and I think that's going to be way too high of a price for that car. I don't think they would put an actual STI trim on it with like an actual turbo setup, the whole kit and caboodle, the whole shebang. I don't see it happening. We need a BRZ STI turbocharged. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I love my BRZ now that's turbocharged. I mean, I loved it when it was naturally aspirated, but the turbo setup adds an entire different just aspect to the car when it comes to driving it. I just don't foresee Subaru adding a turbo setup just straight out of the factory. What's up, man? H6 BRZ. Someone in Japan has done it. It has been done before. Someone put an EG33 into a BRZ. Isu, love you. I love you, my friend. I don't know you, but right back at you. Not wheel horsepower, but I feel like the FA24 will be mid 300s. For the STI, I'm assuming you mean that one. With the STI, I could very realistically see the FA24 and the STI be around the mid 300s, maybe 350 to 360 horsepower. That's probably going to be crank horsepower. I think with a tune, basic fuel mods, intake, and a turbo back, that thing will be chooching on the horsepower. Prime Motoring is a perfect example when they did theirs. I highly doubt 400 horsepower on the new STI. I think it's fair to say 350. That's what I'm thinking also. I'm glad I'm not the only one out there kind of thinking this. Just the 400 wheel horsepower claims, the 400 horsepower claims just seem a little ludicrous. 2022 or 2021? I don't know what the cars and stuff, I don't know what that's in relation to. Dealerships will charge like 50K. You are probably accurate on that one, Jimmy. What would be a good price for a used 2015 plus WRX under 60,000 miles that is stock? 2015 plus, I mean, it really solely depends on the year that you're buying. The 2015s to 2017s had the whole issue with the pitch stop mounts and the cracking on the welds with them. So those ones I foresee being a little bit cheaper just because if they haven't already had the TSB done to them, you're going to have to go take it to the dealership, get the TSB done. And it's just a whole like 3-week to month-long wait that's a mess. But I typically see them go for like 20 to 22,000, depending on year and condition and title status. Don't forget the salvage title BRZs. True, the salvage title BRZs are going well under $10,000 right now, and I've seen some beat chassis where it's just a like BRZ shell or FRS shell for like $400, which is actually a pretty good steal if someone's looking to like make a dedicated race car or track car. $400 for a chassis to start with is not bad. This pick looks... That's what I was saying earlier. It does kind of look like the 400Z. If you look at the front end on the 400Z, it does remind me of it. I mean, that's a pretty accurate photo of it. I like the Nismo better. That one. I like that one a little bit better. The headlights do look like strikingly similar from the BRZ over to the 400Z. I would say it's like a direct correlation. These ones are kind of like diamond-y, while the BRZ ones are more like triangular, ovalish, kind of. But it does look a lot like the 400Z. Should I wait to install my turbo on the 17 BRZ? So if the news is good, sell the Series Yellow and turbo and get the new one if it's not turboed, or do you think it's better to keep mine price-wise? Price-wise, I'd say, I mean, keep yours if you already have it. If you already have the turbo setup and everything like that, I'd say just keep pushing along with that setup. I don't think the 2022 BRZ is going to be a huge change from the current chassis. From what people are rumoring, it's supposed to have rear wheel steering, which personally I'm not a huge fan of. On my old Skyline, which, don't get me wrong, it's 20-year-old tech. It was something called Hikis, which was rear wheel steering. It was like hydraulic interconnected, something power steering to the rear wheels. They only turned like 1 to 2 degrees or 2 to 3 degrees or something like that. But it was enough where everyone deleted it because nobody liked it. Now, the issue that I see with the new BRZ is if they do rear wheel steering, it doesn't use a power steering pump and it doesn't use any power steering fluid. So it would probably be an electronic rack or some sort of electronic steering assist in the rear of the car, which if that breaks, that's going to be stupid expensive to fix. It's just, keep it simple. Like, that's one reason why people just loved the BRZ and the FRS and the GT86 is they were simple. They were simple cars where it was just you and the car. All the, like, the fancy electronics, none of them were pretty much there. So, I would hold off on selling anything or, like, planning on selling anything. Tomorrow we'll have like definite answers and specs on this to see what all the new BRZ has in store. Definitely curious to test drive one when they come out to see if it's a noticeable difference between like my 13 BRZ and this 2022 BRZ, because it's going to be a 10-year gap between my current one and this one. So I am interested to see how different they feel on like actual road use. Considering selling the 13 WRX, keeping the Legacy GT, and getting my first STI. What would be the best STI to get in your opinion? Like the very best STIs I think that have been made were 2005, 2007, and 2019 plus. Personally, the two GD models, I really like those ones. The Blob Eyes are incredibly hard to find. They're an iconic like staple in the Subaru diet. The Hawkeyes just had a really good run of innovative changes from 2006 up to 2007. They converted over to top feed versus side feed injected. They redid the gearing in there. There's a lot of good revisions that they did in the 2007 models. But if you want one that's actually going to make power on the stock block, the 2019 is a good way to go, or at least 2019 plus, since you do get the Type RA short block, and people have just been like making oodles of power with those ones. So I mean, a lot of good options out there. Kind of depends on what you are looking for and what your budget is. How will the new STI look? Is there any renderings? Well, I mean, there's a couple. I made a video on that one of what it's supposed to look like. Was it 2022 STI? I'm not a huge fan of the way that it looks. Where's it at? That's not the rendering that I look. Where's like the really... Where is it? Do I gotta go to Google Images? This is what everyone's projecting it to look like. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the way that they styled the new one, if this actually is what it will look like. People were pulling images from the Lavergue and kind of cross-combining them with the STI to get a conceptual idea of what it's supposed to look like. There were a couple Japanese articles and magazines that released very similar images to these ones. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of it, but this is what it's rendered to look like right now. Nothing is official till Subaru actually releases any information, and I try to steer clear away from making those videos as much as I can until there's actual information and it's not just speculation or rumors. But we'll see what it looks like. I have no idea when Subaru's planning on releasing anything for that. They haven't announced it yet, but hopefully they do it soon because everyone's been waiting for a very long time. I live in Utah. I live in Washington. Oh, that was bad. That was up there. That was to the other comment. 2022, no 2021. Are they skipping the 2021? So from everything that I've seen, they are skipping the 2021 model year for the revisions. They're going to have the 2021 model year, but it's still going to be the current BRZ setup from what I've seen. Because of like COVID, the entire pandemic, everything else going on in the world, it had like severely delayed production times in a lot of different manufacturing companies. So they're slotting this BRZ to come out late 2021, so like fall, late summer-ish is when this BRZ should be available to go purchase. So we'll see when they actually get on the lots, but that's what I read so far. Once again, nothing from Subaru quite yet. We'll know tomorrow. I have to swing down to Subaru later this week anyways to go pick up some more parts for the STI, so I'll see if they can get me any information on when they actually might start seeing some of them on the lot. Why 2022, not 2021? I don't know. That's just kind of my opinion on it, is I think that just manufacturing times are taking forever. Let's be honest. Do you think the 2022 BRZ is worth it? And would you drop warranty immediately like the Subi? 100%. So whenever it comes to me buying any car, I throw the warranty out the window within the first like 10 hours of owning the car. I personally just don't care to have a warranty. If something breaks, I'll fix it myself. If it's something that breaks drastically, or as a recalled item, Subaru will probably take care of it at that cost or on their dime. But for the most part, I'm considering getting the 2022 BRZ to, like, heavily pending the information that Subaru releases tomorrow on this thing. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen the little video they've done on it so far. I have no idea, with them driving the BRZ out in the woods and people like zooming in on it, doing the weird rear wheel steering, whatever they're doing with it. But I don't know if it's worth the hype. And after I test drive one, if I want to get one, I will trade in or sell the 2013 BRZ to get the new 2022. Once again, it's not for another year or year and a half to make the decision. So we still have quite some time, but I don't know, based off of these videos, it doesn't look much different than the current BRZ, with the exception of maybe just a little bit of changes to the body and the naturally aspirated FA24 in there. But I don't know if I'd want to go back to a naturally aspirated car. I think I would have to, like, I wonder if I could just swap over the turbo setup. Curious. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen that video, it's on Subaru's website. That's pretty much all the information they released in a video about the new BRZ. But we'll see tomorrow. We'll see what's going on tomorrow. Would I ever do a Forester build, and why not? I would 100% do a Forester build. I absolutely love Foresters. Just right now I don't have the money to buy another car, but maybe down the line or down in the future a little bit, I will definitely snag a BRZ. Talking so much about BRZ, it's stuck in my head. I would definitely grab a Forester if I ever got the opportunity to do so. I saw a clean... That's your guys' combo over there. What's up, Bort Forts? What's going on, dude? I feel like the Subaru is most likely gonna turbo the BRZ, because with most people wanting it, also marketing, since selling a 200 horsepower car is gonna be hard if it ain't 20K new. You're not wrong, but I do think people will still buy it. I mean, people still buy the current 2020 BRZs at an MSRP of $28,000 plus tax, title, license on top of that. So you're looking at like $32,000, $33,000 out the door. I think if they can continue to push the current lineup like they have been doing, if they just revamped the engine with the FA24, redid the styling a little bit, asked $28,000, $29,000 like they currently are, I still think they'd be able to sell the BRZ. People aren't buying the BRZ because it makes a lot of power. They're buying it because it's a fun car to drive. But like going back, I don't see Subaru going the extra mile to turbocharge the car. We'll see what they say tomorrow, but I don't see it being turbocharged. And if they do turbocharge it, I think they're going to limit it to like 230 horsepower max. But, I mean, it's still a lot more fun than, what, the 150 that you get now? That's to the wheels also. To the crank, it makes a lot more. Electronic means servos, right? That is correct. I have broken quite a few servos already on the STI, like the auto-leveling headlight one in the rear of the car. That thing snapped a long time ago. Servos break. They break all the time. What's going on, Fox? How you doing, dude? Hey, what's that Porsche on your screen? I see what you did there. I see what you did there. It does kind of look like a Porsche. I can kind of see the resemblance on the front end of it. I highly doubt they will turbo the BRZ. It'll push into Big Daddy Subaru 2.0 power range. True. I don't see Subaru doing it. I don't see them spending the extra money for R&D and on the motor for the BRZ alone to turbocharge it. I mean, if they wanted to, which I don't think would be a bad idea, if they waited an extra year to put the BRZ out on the market, or they might do this in the future, is once the 2023, 2022 Subaru WRX comes out with the new FA24 and it's detuned a little bit from what the STI is making, I could see them taking that FA24 that's already turbocharged from the WRX and plopping it into the BRZ. For the most part, I don't know why they never did that with the current 2013 to 2020. I mean, it's pretty much drop in for the most part. I mean, the only major issues you're going to run into with like a FA20 DIT from a WRX is turbo placement, just because it sits so low to the ground. It's a little bit sketchy. But just relocating the turbo to, like, even on my BRZ, if you were to put a turbo right in that stock location from the factory, I think it would work perfect. I think people would love it. People would eat it up. I'm looking for anything. My budget is 0, 0, 0, 0. I got some Subarus that I might be throwing away in the future if you want some Subarus. That front end looks too short. It does look a little short. Where's that render again? 2022 Subaru BRZ render. This isn't even the like official yet. It does look very short. Can I make this bigger? What website is this taking me to? All new 2022 Subaru BRZ officially teased. I don't know. I kind of like the front end on it. That photo does look a little bit different than from what Subaru released right here. Maybe not. I don't know. It might just be the angle of the headlights on that one. It looks a little more round than the actual one from Subaru, but it does look very short. It does look like a very short front end. I hope Subaru in the future will add new color options. I want them to bring back some of their old color options. Bring back Sonic Yellow. Bring back, what was it? Java Pearl? Black Java Pearl, whatever it was. The, like, super, like, gold flaky black paint that they had. That's probably my favorite color that Subaru ever did. It looked good. It was a solid color. What's going on, Asher? Hey, Tanner, you make awesome videos. I appreciate it, dude. I just got a 15 WRX with 41k miles and was wondering if it should get new spark plugs. Subaru doesn't recommend spark plugs until 60,000 miles. Personally, I do them every 20 to 30,000 miles. But you can definitely wait until the recommended service if you want to on that one, or if you're feeling up to the challenge, you can definitely go ahead and swap those out if you'd like to. Wait, are people offering their Subarus up for sale on here? I have no idea. I have no idea, Fox. I don't know. People are having their own conversations out there. Do I think these new engines will bring in a new age of cheap, high horsepower Subarus? When it comes to price to power of modding a Subi, they lose almost any car. Yes and no. That's a hard question to answer. With the FA24 that Subaru has already made and that Prime Motoring has tested, they were able to make 500 horsepower on that build. If you guys haven't seen that one, where is it? Prime Motoring, FA24 Crosstrack. Where's it at? Is it on their Facebook page? I think it is on their Facebook page. This one. Where's that dyno sheet? I know it's a little bit hard to see, and it's not even opening right now. Why is it not even opening? Open. Open. Okay, dumb. It's not even opening. All right, if you guys go on Prime Motoring's Facebook page and you search for it, you'll see it. The FA24 out of an Ascent that they swapped into a Crosstrack with some basic bolt-ons was able to hit 500 horsepower on the stock long block. I have no idea how reliable that build is, but I do think that the FA24s will be able to make power easier. As for high horsepower, I don't think that they will make high horsepower. That's never been what Subaru is about. Subaru's always been about cars that respond and drive well, and they're very driver car connected. They've never been about cars that have just made a ton of horsepower out of the box. I don't ever think Subaru will get to that point. It's just not what they do. But we'll see as the FA grows a little bit longer, and as we continue to learn more about it, we'll see what the FA24 has in stock. Selling my 15 WRX was the best decision I ever made. Subarus are junk. Maybe, I mean, I highly disagree with that. But, to each their own. You are entitled to your own opinion. We don't get a kick in. Too expensive to make power. They are expensive to make power. I will fully admit that. Also, don't buy cars right now. Used cars are shooting. I did see that. I did see that a lot of dealership car prices are shooting through the roof. Not entirely sure why. Maybe they're just trying to make back some money because not a lot of people are buying cars right now. But, I mean, that doesn't seem like a good way to bring in more customers. I think the BRZ will be around 220 to 230 power. I hope so. That would actually make the car a lot better than what it is now from the factory. But everything that I've seen so far is kind of rumored to be around 211 to 217 crank horsepower, which would probably translate down to around 180, 185 wheel horsepower, which is still below that sub 200 horsepower mark. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious to see. I'm going to be waking up bright and early to watch the release of this thing. I think I'm waking up at like 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. to get ready and get set up for this thing, but super excited for it. Still, true. Too expensive to make power it is. You guys are having like your own whole side conversation over here. Fun car too expensive to make power and too many issues. I haven't had any issues out of any of my Subarus. I haven't had any problems with any of my Subarus actually. It seems like it might be just luck of the draw and I'm extremely lucky, or I don't know. I haven't had any issues with any of my Subarus. I'm on the fence about selling my 2017 WRX. Love the car, but I want to put the money into something else. Fox, I want to see the bug. I want to see the bug setup that you got going. Sell the WRX and just build the bug. Talk to me into it. Talk to me into it, my man. No, but for real, I mean, if you are considering selling it, by all means, I mean, weigh into account. You can always get another one later down the road if you do sell it, you want to get another one. There's plenty of them. The VA chassis WRX and STIs are the most produced WRX and STI Subaru has ever done. They are absolutely everywhere in such high quantities. If you're out and about driving on the road, you will not see GDs or GRs very often anymore in comparison to how often you see a VA chassis. So, I mean, there's always more down the road if you want to snag another one, but totally don't blame you. In the past, I've considered selling the STI before also. It's kind of at a point where I can never sell that car at this point just because it's a little past the point of selling. What control arms would I recommend for a 2020 Subaru WRX? Whiteliner SPC, they are the best bang for the buck. What's up, Mustache? What's up? What's up, Devin? What are you doing, dude? What are you doing, dude? 2022 BRZ or an FCRX7? FCRX7, 100%. I love older RX-7s, especially even the FCs. They're really cool cars. There's not a ton of them out on the road anymore, and there's going to be a ton of these 2022 BRZs rolling around in the next couple of years. So, by all means, give me the FCRX7. There's not a lot left. They already have a turbocharged FA24. Why would they have to redevelop it? So if you look at the current FA20, we'll use the FA20 as an example. So the FA20, it already has a turbo variant. They didn't want to put the turbo variant in the BRZ over the past 10 years. So what they did is they redesigned the FA20 for the WRX eventually, and so on for other platforms. But in the BRZ, if you look at that one, the compression ratio in the BRZ is 12.5 to 1. In the WRX, it's 10.5 to 1, I believe. So, I mean, they are going to have to do a little bit of redesign. So, even though Subaru is putting the FA24 into multiple platforms, I'm talking like the Ascent, the Outback, the Forester, the WRX, the STI, the BRZ, they will not all be the same FA24. You're going to have variances from motor to motor, from car to car. Compression ratios are going to be different. Bore might be different. Stroke might be different. There's a whole, like, a ton of factors that go into each of these engines. So I know with the bore size on the FA20 to FA24 change, stroke is same. Both of those are still 86 millimeters. But just expect that the FA24 is not going to be the exact same in all chassis that they're doing with this thing. It's definitely going to be different in the BRZ. I think they are going to increase compression ratio again with the FA24. They might go back up to 12.5 to 1. They might keep it at 10.5 to 1. Who knows? We'll find out tomorrow on actual... I don't even know if they're going to be dropping like that many specs tomorrow for this thing. But what they do drop, we will definitely cover. But just keep in mind, the FA24 is not going to be the exact same in every single chassis. It's going to vary. It's going to be different. People might even go through, rebuild them, swap them. Who knows? I mean, we'll see what they have in store for the next couple of years. But definitely interested. Definitely interested. What's going on, James? What's going on? What's going on all 07? What's going on all 07? I don't know what that means. BRZ, new car will be safer and honestly probably faster. I do that BRZ looks chubby. It does look a little bit chubby with a smaller front end. I do think they are going to be increasing safety on it. I mean, that's something that Subaru always does whenever they get the opportunity to increase safety on any of their cars. They're always one of the first ones to jump on it and knock it out. But It's rumored to have a little bit more horsepower. We'll see how much it actually has, though. Aspen White has always been my favorite. Aspen White, I used to have an Aspen White 06 STI. Loved the color. Very difficult to maintain, though. What's up, my buddy? How's life? How you doing? Hope it's well. You know, I'm living life, dude. Living life. Always busy, always chilling, always kicking it, always doing something. It's going well. It's going well. Where did I just leave? Laguna Blue is the best color they made. SVX exclusive. Laguna Blue. SVX. I'm curious what it looks like. Laguna Blue SVX. What did you just have me search? Do I need to specify Subaru on that one? Ah, that is a good color. I like that color. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I like it. Are the 2019 S Plus STIs able to hold horsepower better than older models, especially the Ringlands? So yeah, the 2019 Plus STIs are able to hold more power a lot more reliably. People have been making 500 plus on the Type RA short blocks, which comes standard on all 2019 Plus models. Essentially what they did, they revised the ring gap a little bit. I think they strengthened a little bit of the internals as well, but they have been making a lot more power, a lot more reliably. So 100%, the 2019 Plus is a solid option if you're considering one. What's everyone's choice for a first car under 25K? Personally, I would probably get, as a first car, I would probably snag like a manual BRZ. Personal preference on that one, they're easy to learn manual on. They're fun. They have a huge variety of parts for modification. They're not crazy fast. They're good to get used to. I mean, for personally, my suggestion. Thoughts on Cold War? I love it. I've been playing zombies like nonstop the past couple days. It's fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy the new Cold War, even though I get wrecked in multiplayer by random grenades all the time. For a 350Z, what turbo setup would I go with? Single, twin, or rear mount? Personally, I've never been a huge fan of rear mount turbo setups. I looked at one for the BRZ and my old 350Z a very long time ago. There's just a ton more piping that you're going to have to run for that setup. Granted, you don't have to deal with the excessive amount of heat soak in the engine bay versus having a turbo in the engine bay. Plus 350Zs, G35s, VQ35DEs in general. Very tight engine bays. And those headers are not fun to run. I would definitely go with a single turbo setup on a 350Z. Personal preference, you might want to go with a twin if that's what you want, but it's a lot more plumbing, a lot more work, and just, it is what it is. Have I ever considered the Type R? What do you think STI versus Type R? So personally, I am not a huge fan of the Type R that Honda released. I'm not a huge Honda fan. I've said that before. There's definitely a couple Hondas that I'd love to snag in the future, S2000 being one of them, and a couple other ones out there, but I just don't like the styling on the Type R. Aside from that, I haven't looked too much into the horsepower specs. I know it makes around 300 horsepower, something in that range. But just based off of look, styling, I'm just not, and interior, I'm just not a huge fan of it. That impressive power for a stock block, didn't know they could do that. That they can. Buying a 2010 narrow body next week. Super excited. Ooh, Gavin, follow up, my dude. Follow up with that. Subaru WRX or STI Legacy Lexus LS. I don't even, John. Oh, you're responding back up there. I got you. To whoever, you guys are just having your own conversation down there. I'm gonna jump down to like right here. Hey Tanner, I picked up a gray series STI and I am in love. Congrats on the car, dude. I'm thinking about following your 350 wheel horsepower recommendation. Do it. It's honestly a good spot to get the car for a daily driver. It's a comfortable amount of horsepower. It's not putting any like excessive stress on the car or the motor itself. Definitely a solid place to be. All right, Smedia said it. 2017 Lapis Blue WX for sale, 20K. I'll sold. Look at that, man. You just perfect. It's happening. If only if you commit to finishing the bug project, because I do want to see that one, Fox. My 03 Bug Eye, original trans motor and turbo, 153K miles. Whoever said Subarus. I've seen like Subarus go like 400,000. I've seen a couple STIs hit 500,000 miles. As long as you follow the maintenance schedule, I mean, they're stupid reliable. Been working way too much, dude. I see you always used to send me Snapchats of you working at the port for some reason. Got a 2020 WRX. Hate the manual transmission. Can't figure out how to shift up or down smoothly. Had manual cars my entire life. So with the 2020 WX transmissions, something that I suggest you go do is do like a pair and brass shifter bushing, boom to short throw shifter, pair and shifter stop, clean up the transmission a little bit, and I promise you it'll feel a lot better. I used to hate it. I hated my old one also when I had my 2017 and 2016 WX. Transmission was like the biggest thing I disliked about that car. Is that a render or an actual photo for the 2022? This one right here is a render. This is an actual photo by Subaru. So, I mean, the render looks pretty close to what's going on here. I'm kind of curious on that little bumper swoop. They both have the same bumper swoop, so I have a feeling that render is going to look pretty close to what Subaru releases tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to be up at the butt crack of dawn covering this thing as soon as it goes live. And Subaru drops the specs, so expect either a live stream as Subaru is unveiling the new BRZ, or a video. I don't know which one I'm going to do quite yet, but we'll find out in the morning. Cobb, Grim Speed Limited, or NVIDIA divorced. What kind of downpipe would you recommend for 2007 STI Limited? If you are using an OTS tune, such as a Cobb Access Porter or something of the likes, maybe, I don't even know if ECU Tech covers that platform. If you're using an Access Port and you're using an OTS tune, get whatever downpipe matches the OTS tune you're using. If you're using a Cobb OTS tune, get a Cobb downpipe. If you're using like an M8 Performance OTS tune, get an M8 Performance downpipe. Just match your downpipe with your OTS tune. If you're getting E-tuned or Pro-tuned on a dyno or like a street tune, get whatever one you prefer at that point. 07 is a salute popular. Oh, on Lyric Stream or Toy. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Do I think it'll be turbo? Damn, I can run 500 horsepower with my RA, no problem. Sweet. Definitely. People have been making 500 plus. Just make sure you're touching on those reliability mods, and you should be just fine. And do I think it'll be turbo? I don't. I touched on it a little bit ago. I just don't think that Subaru's willing to spend the extra money on the BRZ to turbocharge the car. I mean, if you look at the current BRZ, they're selling it at an MSRP of $28,000 just for the current BRZ, which has, what, 205 horsepower. I don't think they'd add a turbo setup to the car. I think that would push the car incredibly more expensive to the point where consumers may or may not buy it. I think it's a gamble on Subaru's end, but I just don't think they're going to turbocharge the car. I just don't see it happening. Would I ever consider getting a GTR and Evo Final Edition? If I get an Evo, which I'm always looking for Evos, only because I do want an Evo. I want an Evo 9. I've always wanted an Evo 9. They're just incredibly difficult to find. They're incredibly expensive when I do find them, and they're never stock. I would love to get one that's as close to stock as possible for a price that isn't going to cost me a kidney. As for a GTR, I used to have a GTST. It was a 1993 Skyline GTST Type M. I'd love to have a GTR down the road. I don't think I'd ever buy another R32, R33, or R34. Prices on the cars themselves are just too expensive for something that I'm willing to pay for something that old. Parts prices are way too expensive for something that old as well. And getting parts into the United States sometimes that might be special order are incredibly expensive and incredibly time consuming. So, I mean, I'd potentially consider some type of GTR in the future, but it would have to be incredibly cheap, and I would definitely tear that thing apart and do all of my own mods to it again, just like everything else we do. Will there be a turbo trim? Probably not, since the A90 Super exists. I really don't think that they're going to do a turbo trim of the BRZ. It's weird too. The BRZ and the GT86 are going, I think they're going to be completely different cars. I don't think they're going to be twins anymore, as people have called them over the past 10 years, because Toyota's not releasing any information on the GT86 tomorrow. From everything that I've found and everything that I've read so far, the GT86 specs aren't going to be released for another month or two after the BRZ's information gets released. So it seems like the GT86 might be an entirely different chassis with an entirely different motor in it than what the BRZ is going to have. So when Toyota and Subaru initially did their collaboration for the twins, they had some weird rules where for every like 10 FRSs at the time were sold, they could sell one BRZ. They used Subaru's engine, a lot of Toyota's designs, they kind of commingled them together. I think that their partnership on this chassis at least is up, because the styling differences from a render that I saw on the GT86 is completely different than what it is on the BRZ. I also think that they might be taking some maybe an engine from BMW and throwing it into the GT86. I don't know, but it seems like Toyota and Subaru are no longer working in like super collaboration with one another like they used to be with the twins. So I'm definitely interested to see what they do with the GT86 when that comes out in a few months and they release specs on that one, because that one might be a little bit better than the BRZ, but we'll find out. We'll find out. Thoughts on an M40i or an M240i? I don't know too much about BMWs. I'm assuming that's a BMW, but I don't know. I don't know too much about BMWs. Supercharged BRZ? I don't think Subaru would ever supercharge a BRZ out of the factory either. Should I go 1300 injectors over 1050cc and run an AM 340 or 320 fuel pump? Is it too much fueling for stock block 2019 STI? No, when the tuner goes in and they start tuning everything, they can definitely scale injectors properly. 1300s are just fine. You can totally use those. They'll scale them accordingly and you'll be good to go. Waste of cash to go for an intercooler and a completely stock engine. Debatable. I mean, you can definitely drop your IATs, which in turn will get cooler air into the engine. You're not going to see a ton of gains though, so I mean, you can go either way with that one. Thoughts on the new Golf R? Did they release a new Golf R? 2022 Volkswagen Golf R. I didn't even know they released it. 315 horsepower. That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, I know when you tune the Golf R, it'll make a lot more power, but 315 out of the box? That's a car that I'd like to drive too. I'd love to drive a Golf R. That would be a fun one. I might go test drive that. What's the max PSI the TD04 can run safely? I probably wouldn't push it past like 18 pounds max. Is that picture confirmed? Alec, yes. This picture right here on the desktop right now is confirmed. This is on Subaru's website from Subaru. This is just a teaser pic of the front end. So we'll see what the actual full car looks like, but I'm guessing it's going to look similar to this. We'll find out tomorrow morning, though. We will find out tomorrow morning. I have a 2018 BRZ debating whether or not to stay stock for now or void parts on the warranty with purchasing coilovers and getting headers in a tune. Thoughts? I have extended warranty, so I'm not sure if it's... So if you guys don't know this, if you guys have a warranty on your car and you want to modify it, but you don't want to waste the warranty that you paid for, you can go back to the dealership and get that warranty that you paid for prorated back to you as in a check, or it'll go back towards what you owe on the car. So if you guys do decide to modify your car and you have an extended warranty or something on it like that, you can definitely go back to the dealership. You can cancel that warranty and get paid your money back for it. So if you do want to modify it, by all means, do so. I'm not going to be the one to tell you to modify your car or not modify your car if you don't want to void your warranty. But if you do decide to void your warranty and modify your car, definitely go get that extended warranty money back. Don't let that money like slip away. It's like a couple $1,000s you get back. Do you think I will be able to run a short shifter with my trans swap and the fact that I have to do extend? Yeah, you could definitely do. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. It also depends on the transmission and the car you're using, Aaron, because I don't know what you're using, but I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to. Just went flex on my 2017 WRX tuned by Mike McGinnens at Cobb in Austin. Oh! Oh, I know. Dallas tuned mine. When it was Cobb, Plano, Dallas, they tuned my old one. I thought it was the same one. And the power difference is insane! Now I'm looking at suspension. What coilovers and rear sway bar do you recommend? 100% Fortunato coilovers. White line 24mm rear sway bar is always my go-to. Or 22. Someone said a 22 also. Is an access port worth to purchase, avoiding the warranty? So, yes and no, kind of depends. The access port is kind of your gateway into modifying your car. The access port will also give you DTC codes whenever there's a check engine light or anything like that that pops up on your dash. You can also do like data monitoring. But if you don't feel comfortable working on your own car or fixing it or paying someone else to fix it when it breaks, I definitely wouldn't recommend doing it. If you're comfortable with all that, by all means do it. I've got an entire video up on if you should avoid your warranty or anything like that. Go check it out. If you got any further questions, feel free to just comment and we can talk about it a little bit more. Woo, doing a lot of talking tonight. Planning on building another STI swapped bug-eye to make around 600 horsepower along with my 370Z. Do you have any recommendations with trans for the swapped 2018 STI engine? Just use the STI trans. rated to hold a lot more power. People have been making like 1,000 horsepower on the stock trans, no problem. With upgraded axles, some people swap out the drive shaft also. With obviously the correct clutch, but the STI trans all day, things just fine. If you wanted to use a different trans, you could definitely get an adapter plate, get like a CD009, which I'm sure you're familiar with, coming from a Z platform. CD009 also holds a healthy amount of power. When to change oil, WRX, only drive hard, 3,000 miles. I tell a lot of people this. I do not push your oil past like 3,000 miles. It can get dicey. I'm not saying anything detrimental is going to happen. But 3,000 is pretty much going to be your safe point. Corey, what's going on? What's up, man? Picking up my 500 wheel horsepower 2019 STI Friday from the shop. Ooh, FB Green. Your videos pushed me to do it, so I'm blaming you. That's totally fine. I will take the blame for that one, man. I hope you enjoy the newfound power that the car will be making. Should I get Killer B header from the start or do it later down the road? Planning to do intake, downpipe, external wastegate, up pipe. Should I do the fuel pump? What else should I do for basic bolt-ons? Definitely 100% on the Killer B header. It's a really solid header, really good quality, and makes some really good power. I would definitely... You could probably get away with doing it later down the road. You don't have to do it right now, but if you're going external wastegate and up pipe, it's probably not a bad idea to do it. You can just buy the Killer B up pipe that is V-band for the header, and then just run your external wastegate that way. As for fuel pump, depending on how much power you want to make, that's kind of determine what fuel pump you should run. A lot of people run the AEM 340. No issues. I run Deechworks. Haven't had any issues with Deechworks pumps either. Personally speaking, other people have, but I haven't, so I can't say anything negative about them. But you could definitely do it now. You could definitely do it later. Should I do fuel pump? Yes, do your fuel pump. I have a 36K 2017 WRX that I've kept stock and am considering moving to a new car. Should I trade it in or private sell? Private sell 100%. You'll always get more money private selling than you will trade in, for like 95% of the time, unless the dealer's giving you some like type of incentive that'll give you more for your car than you get at a private sale, unless they're cutting a lot of money off. Typically, when you go to trade in a car, you do get some tax breaks versus like private sale, but if you're wanting more cash, private sale it. I know I'm late on the topic, but I recommend getting a used Honda SI Charger. Oh, okay, that's for backup there, the first car comment. Hey man, I have a 2017 WRX I'm learning to mod on. Would you recommend getting a 2020 STI in a few years as an upgrade, or do you think I should start with one of the older models? So for the most part, a lot of people ask me this question: should you guys get an older STI? Should you guys get a newer STI? Honestly speaking, there's not a ton of changes between the STIs throughout the years, with the exception of drivetrain changes here and there, exterior changes, interior changes. They all pretty much modify the exact same. If you should get a 2020, I mean, the 2020s are probably going to drop in price over the next couple years, especially as the FA24 STI comes out in the future. I do see older generations becoming cheaper to a point. I think within the next 5 years, you'll see EJ-based STIs go down in price, but then after that 5-year mark, they're going to start going back up in price because people are going to want some iconic original Subarus now that the EJ is being phased out and the FA24 is being phased in. So if that is one that you're considering, keep an eye on prices because I do see prices fluctuating quite a bit in the next couple of years on any EJ-based Subaru. Can you help me understand the different or type of generations from a Subi? Why must the names be as complicated as Porsche's naming? So it's not really. So you've got the GD models, which is 2002 up to 2007. The 2002 to 2003 are bug eyes just because they look like bugs. Blob eyes are going to be 2005 to 2004, 2005. Hawk eyes are 2006, 2007. People call them stink eyes from 2008 up to 2014, and then some people call them Raptor Eye, Evo Eye for all the 2015 plus. It's not too bad. It's like a weird chart. It's like a weird little chart that people go off of. Traded my 2019 WRX for a 2020 STI. No hate on the WRX, but the STI feels so much for solid. Love it. That's what I'm saying. That's why I like my STIs. The drivetrain is the biggest selling factor for me on the STIs. OMX Strike GD is best. GD has my heart. I'm debating whether to start modding my 2020 WRX or just keep it keep it stock for resale value and wait to get 2022 WRX. So, I mean, if you want to modify the car, you can definitely modify the car. When it comes time that you do want to move to a different platform or you do want to jump up to like a newer model, keep all your stock parts. Part out. Keep all of your stock parts. I see this too many times where people sell all their stock parts, they throw them away or something like that, and then it comes time for them to sell the car, trade in the car, do whatever they're going to do with the car, and they don't have the parts anymore. And then they get stuck in this route where they're like, all right, I have this like modified car, no one wants to buy it, dealers don't want to give me like full book value for it because it's modified. Keep all your stock parts. If you do decide to modify it, just revert it back to stock. What is this OM? Oh, got you back up there. Debating on selling my 09 WRX for 2022 BRZ if the power is there. I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. I don't know how much power they're actually going to start announcing. I don't even know if they're going to announce the actual power numbers tomorrow. I hope they am. They haven't really given any information. Get ready for more thrills, more okay, so it is rear-wheel drive, so we have that verified. So whoever asked the all-wheel drive question earlier, we do know that it's rear-wheel drive. More of everything serious drivers love about the BRZ. The all-new 2022 BRZ is completely... Hey, appreciate the dono, OMX Strike. Appreciate it, my friend. Definitely goes back into the channel, and you got the dancing cat going on. Thanks. Thanks, my dude! Deliver pure sports car exhilaration and is almost here. You can be among the first to see the reveal during the Subaru World Premiere. That's all they tell us. So all we know is it's rear-wheel drive. That's all that's been confirmed so far. A coupe WRX STI would be nice again as well. I don't think they're ever going to make a coupe again. If they did, it would sell like hotcakes. People love a coupe, but I don't ever think they're going to make a coupe again. Wait, a year after the new BRZ comes out, it'll drop in value. The older ones. I definitely see the older ones dropping in value based off of the 2022 and how it does in the market. If the 2022 does well, I can see the older models dropping in price. If the 2022 does bad, I can see that one dropping in price. Ugh. I feel like I have to sneeze, but I don't. It's weird. You guys ever get that where you get like a sneeze stuck in your nose? Is an STI transmission swap worth it? I was going to keep stock transmission until get ETS turbo kit. How much would it be as well? So typically, drivetrain swaps or STI swaps, you can get them for around like $300 to $4,500, $3,000 to $4,500, depending on the condition, miles, and what car they came off of. That's going to be like the hubs, the calipers, the axles, the transmission itself, the rear diff, and the drive shaft. Not cheap, but it is definitely worth it. What should I look at when buying a used 2015 plus WRX to make sure it's in good condition? Try to find one that is as stock as possible, because here's the thing. A lot of people say, why not just buy a modified one? Why not just buy one with all the parts on it that you're going to buy anyways? Well, you don't know how the last owner treated the car. You don't even know if it's tuned. You don't know what's all done to the car. There's too many variables for you to reliably go in and buy a modified WRX unless you have like a full build sheet, a like dyno graph from when the car was tuned, or a receipt saying when it was e-tuned or something. Find one that's as stock as possible. Preferably a premium model would be my go-to, just because you get the sunroof and the heated seats. You still get the fog lights. Premium's like right in a good spot. The base I was never a huge fan of. You also get the 18-inch wheels if you are buying a stock one. Depending on where it is also, you might want to check for rust in the rear quarter panels. And then lastly, depending on mileage, check the last time that the walnut blasting or the valves were cleaned. That's a lot of people that don't do, they just don't do it on the FA platform for some reason, whether or not they just don't know about it. They just don't choose to. But the valves need to be cleaned every 30,000 miles on the FA20 WRXs. The carbon buildup on the backside of the valves reduces miles per gallon, reduces performance, cuts your horsepower, cuts your torque a little bit more. Just make sure they've been cleaned, and you should be pretty good. I don't think they have a name. I just hear them being called VAs. People do call them VAs also. Anyone know if the new BRZ is an FA or an EJ? It will 99.9% be an FA, I am guessing. Will power numbers be revealed tomorrow? I hope so. Like I said, I will definitely be covering a video on all of the 2022 BRZ specs and information when Subaru releases it. We'll cross-compare the engine over to the FA24 that is in the Ascent, just to kind of get a better feel for it, so that way if someone did want to turbocharge it, hey, maybe this is what we could expect. We can also kind of narrow down how much power We can better predict how much power that the new STI will make too if we get power numbers for the 2022 BRZ, and if it is still a naturally aspirated FA24 like everyone's saying it is. Kind of like how the first engine is called GCs. True. I just got an ETS front mount intercooler for my 17 STI. Can I install it and run it without a tune? No, you cannot. You are 100% going to need a tune to compensate for the increased charge piping and for the relocation of the intercooler itself. Your car will not run happy. It'll probably run more lean, to be honest. 2022 will ideally have a big jump. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. Front mount intercooler always needs tune. 100%. Adam's got it right there. Too much unaccounted air in the system. Yep. Yep. Where did I just go? You guys, thanks, man. Here's spending money. LOL. That's what I'm talking about. Nice. I went WRX Focus RS Mustang GT, hoping to come back to the STI family. I've considered a Focus RS for actually quite a few years. They look like fun cars. After the whole head gasket issue was fixed by Ford, I've always contemplated getting a Focus RS. I remember when they came out, dealers were asking a stupid amount for them. No BRZ STI, we think. I don't think that they're going to do a BRZ STI. I just don't think that the margins are there for it, for what Subaru's doing. Because if you come in and you go, we'll say like vehicles, we want to build a vehicle. If you look at just the MSRP price of the current BRZ, and it only makes 205 horsepower, you're looking at almost $29,000. If you round up, you're looking at, what, $29K for the current BRZ. If they were to put, and that's with the performance package. So I guess if you take away the performance package, what does it come out to? What is it? You can only get a limited now? You can only get a limited or a TS? I can't buy a base? Dumb. Dumb. I don't think that Subaru has the margins to be able to turbocharge the car or make an STI variant. I want to get a Blob Eye, which has less problems. 04, 05. WRX or STI? If it's an STI, get an 05. If it's a WRX, flip a coin and take your pick on that one because they're pretty much the same. I think that would sell. I mean, I think it would sell, but I don't know if a lot of people would actually... I don't know if Subaru would actually do it, though. That's the thing. How do I get out of this? Go back, go back. How much is the base price of a new STI? Probably expensive. Probably expensive. I'm not even going to look it up. I just got a .812 on my access port for DAM, and when I accelerate a little, the fine mock jumps to about .35. Any help, please? I'm a little bit worried. Could be bad gas. Could be a little bit of moisture in your fuel. .812 is not something that is like crazy bad. Your car's pulling a little bit of timing, but it's nothing like crazy. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Get your fuel tank down to where it's almost empty. Go fill up at like a good known fuel station with some good fuel. Run it through there, see how it does. Also depends on what tune you're using on the car. Your tune might just not be communicating well with the ECU if you're running an OTS tune. Also double check to make sure that all of the parts that you have on your car, if it is modified, do match your OTS tune if you are using an OTS tune. Because once you start deviating away from map notes on off-the-shelf maps, that's when things get a little bit dicey. Have you upgraded your axles or plan to? Looking to do this on mine in the near future. When they break is when I will swap them, but I have not swapped any axles yet. They're not too bad to swap. I just haven't had an issue with them. Just got a 6.2 liter Gen 5 to put in my FRS. Ooh, these Subaru motors take forever to do anything on, and they're just not worth the hassle of power. Is it just easier to swap? I don't blame you. I totally don't blame you. That's why I'm swapping my STI with a 6-cylinder. The BRZ is a daily driver, and I wanted to retain a lot of the OEM features, which is why I just turbocharged the car instead of going all-out swap. But I totally don't blame you. If you're looking to make like high horsepower, the FA20 and the BRZ, or any Subaru motor for that matter, they're just not cheap motors to make a lot of power on. But I am curious on that 6.2 liter swap. Keep me in the loop with that one. I've been tearing up Vet and Porsches even with the FA20 on the road course though. Just such a great chassis. Can't wait to Tesla swap one. Keep me in the loop on that one too. Do I plan on doing any collabs with any other car channels? Yeah, actually, I was talking to my WRX channel, JR over there on his channel a couple days ago. We're planning on meeting up at the Mod Garage next time he's in the local area. So next time he swings over there to pick up parts, or next time I swing up there to pick up parts, we'll definitely meet up and hang out for a bit. We'll shoot a video together. We'll do something. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot of other creators that are like near me. Batterbuilt's on the other side of the state. Same with like Devin Niemela, but I don't really think they want to talk to me or like hang out with me or something like that. No idea. Haven't really ever talked to either one of them though, but no, for the most part, no. The only two that I've really talked to are my WRX channel and Eddie Nuff said, which both are super cool guys. 0.35, fine knock, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. I'm thinking about getting a 2020 WRX, but I don't know a lot about cars. I want to get into it, but want to start building. Want to start getting into it. Would starting at a 2020 would not be a bad idea. The FA20 platform is actually pretty easy to work on. It's pretty easy to get to the spark plugs on the WRX as compared to like a BRZ. So maintenance is pretty easy. They're good fuel economy, easy to learn a manual transmission on too if you don't know how to drive a manual. Definitely suggest it. Recommendations for my Type RA. Not looking too much for performance because I don't want to void my warranty. I don't quite. Edwin, you gotta give me some more info on what you're trying to get out of the car then, because I don't know what your goal is for it. E85 Flex Fuel Kit is the best bang for your buck on any Subaru. You are 100% right, but not everyone has access to E85, which is unfortunate. I have to drive a half hour to go fill up gas cans with the E85. No more base model. Wow, I know, right? Isn't that weird? Subaru pulled the base model from the BRZ lineup. It's only the Limited and the TS now. Not sure if you've said anything, but what are your thoughts on the new Z from Nissan? I want it. I want the new 400Z. Show me the Nismo. I didn't even spell Nismo right. I want this thing. I have been heavily considering, which some of you might judge me for it. I don't care if you guys judge me for it or not. I've heavily been considering getting the 400Z and selling the BRZ when this thing comes out because I love Z cars. I love Nissans. I've always gone back and forth between Nissan and Subaru. I've had a plethora of Nissans. I've had a plethora of Subarus. Those are typically my go-to manufacturers for cars. I love both of their cars. I think they both do an incredible job. They just do different designs. I like the new 400Z. If I could snag one, depending on whatever the price is, when they do get released, I have considered selling the BRZ for a 400Z, especially a Nismo one, if I could get my hands on a Nismo model. I like them. I think it looks exactly like the older 280Zs, which a lot of people say, oh, they don't look the same. They completely ruined it. It's got the whole rectangular grill up in the front of it. The old 400 or the old 280Z had a rectangular grill up in the front of it. It looks exactly the same, just updated. Actually, really, but woo, I like it. I like it. Keep an eye out because in the future I might sell the BRZ for a 400Z because I absolutely love the concept that has come out from Nissan and all these renderings that people have done with them. I personally love it. Not sure if you've said that's one we just talked about. What's going on, Wyatt? I also plan to do my axles when they break. I'm glad I'm not the only one with that mindset. Like, I don't see a point in swapping the axles with high horsepower axles unless they break. Do keep in mind, though, that if you swap out your axles with some high horsepower axles, all you're doing is moving the weak point in the drivetrain or the entire drivetrain setup. So if your axles are your weak point, axles are pretty cheap to replace. If your axles get upgraded to high horsepower axles, then maybe it's your drive shaft that's going to break next. You upgrade that, then it's going to be your transmission. So all you're doing is moving the weak point in the drivetrain around. So maybe it's a good idea to not upgrade the axles, just because that might be the cheapest part to replace when they do break, and just have a couple on hand whenever you have to do them again. Just food for thought. It's kind of sad that there aren't any rear-wheel drive cars under 25K now. Miatas. How much is a brand new Miata, actually? 2021 Miata. How much do brand new Miatas sell for? Build and price. Alright Nissan, or alright Mazda, that's cool. How much are these? Dollar sign. $33,000 for a Miata? This is getting out of hand. This is absolutely getting out of hand. The BRZ diff and axles really aren't that bad, though. I've seen them take a lot more power. I've heard a lot of good things about the rear diff and axle, or at least the rear end setup on the BRZ. If my rear diff ever goes on the BRZ and I still have it in the future, definitely put like an R180 back there out of an STI and just run it with that one. But Your STI and Devin's Evo would look cool together. That would be cool. When the STI is actually done, I hope to be able to drive it around. I want to do a cross-country trip in the STI once it's engine swapped. Some of you guys have also been asking on like the status of the EG33, so I'll just run through that again. I did an update on Friday for you guys. But the EG33 is still at Outfront Motorsports. We are waiting only on the pistons. Once the pistons come in from CP, we're having an issue with JE. So once we actually get the pistons in, the long block will be done in like 4 days. So the only thing that's like holding up the motor right now is the pistons. So as I get more information on that, we'll definitely pass it to you guys. But the heads are built, they're assembled. The short block has been closed decked, ready to go. The crank is back from being nitrated. So once pistons come in, we can get our 6-cylinder back up here and get it in the car. Thanks you guys, I appreciate everyone's help. I was worried for a bit. Nah, don't worry about it, dude. Nothing too bad to worry about. To back up shift heads with just a Cobb big SF intake E60 tune, making 370-ish to the wheels. What? It's 104. What? On what car? Newer Nissans are not built well. They aren't even made in Japan anymore, unlike Subaru. A lot of Subarus aren't made in Japan anymore either. A lot of them are made in Indiana, which is weird. The WRX and the STI is still made in Japan, but a lot of their newer cars aren't made in Japan anymore. They're all made in Indiana now. Pretty sure it's Indiana or Illinois. It's one of them. My man Subaru. Nissan are my go-to for fun toys, SVX and Frontier. I loved Nissans. I really want to get back into a Nissan in the future, and with the 400Z coming out, I'd love to get into a 400Z. I think trading a coupe for a coupe, like the BRZ for a 400Z, would actually be a pretty solid transition. Plus, it opens up the channel to just so much more. So much more! Crazy, not even 10k miles. I thought the newer Subarus were made in the US. They are. So, like, the Outbacks, the Foresters, the Ascents, a lot of them are made in the Midwest. I don't recall what state 100%, but somewhere out there. Edwin, help. Smoke from tailpipe on deceleration right after stretching in a highway. I have parent AOS and checked my PCV already. New Bosch 440 XT Turbo. Bloush, I'm guessing. And supporting mods because I don't think it's your turbo seals. If it was your turbo seals, you'd have white smoke even on idle. It could also be coolant getting in there if it is idle, but then you have like a whole nother worry of problems to deal with at that point. If they're all brand new parts, it might just be parts breaking in also. I don't know how long you've had them on there. You said you just swapped over some of this stuff. The parent AOS is also kind of dicey at times. Sometimes it does let some bypass get back into the system, and then out the tailpipe it goes. So it could also be that. I would go back there, kind of smell it, see what it smells like. I definitely wouldn't go back there and like inhale the exhaust fumes, but just kind of get like a whiff for it. If it smells a little sweet, it might be a little bit of coolant. If it smells like oily, then obviously it's oil getting into your exhaust system, which could be from the PCV system and the parent AOS just not catching everything. No, made in Japan. Thank you for the advice. We'll have to decide when the time comes. Totally don't blame you. Newer cars are way too much money. They are very expensive. Like a Miata, $33,000 for Miata? No. EJ255, by the way. Gotcha. Back that one. Wait till y'all found out what part. Wait till y'all found out where parts are made from. I know where a lot of parts are made from. You get a lot of your guys' parts made in Mexico, Taiwan, Japan, all over the place. Parts come from all over the world. They don't just come from Japan. Just because they're like bought in Japan, not everything is made in Japan. Can you review a WRX CVT? It would be interesting. If I can get my hands on one, I will definitely review it and post up a video on it. A lot of you guys have been asking about CVT questions the past couple of weeks, so I will try to narrow down the bulk majority of CVT questions and get those answered for you guys. Buying a Miata is like buying a 370 Nismo. Only buy it used, no reason for a new one. Yeah, see, that's the thing. The 370Z wasn't a big enough change for me to jump back into Nissan. My old 350Z and the 370Z, they didn't have a ton of changes. I mean, they revised the engine a little bit. They got a little more displacement out of it. But for the most part, it was pretty much the exact same car. Same. Kevin, what's going on, dude? Can't wait to see your 6-cylinder STI finish. Same. I just want to drive the STI again. I miss that thing. Are you self-taught, or did you go through schooling to gain the majority of your knowledge on cars and mechanics? Nope. 100% self-taught over the past 7-8 years or so. I've never been to school for mechanics. I went to school for business, marketing. I have an arts degree that I just had enough credits for. Aerodynamics, a couple other degrees too, but nope, none of them in mechanics or engineering or anything like that. It is Indiana. Pretty sure it's Indiana. 2017 WRX, 370 wheels, 360. I can share dyno sheets. That's just, that just has to seem like a high reading dyno. What time is it right now? It's almost 6. It's almost 6. Hop off here in like 10 minutes or so. Getting a 400Z off the launch would be hella views and growth for the channel. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd love a 400Z. I think they look incredible. I think that is such a good looking car. Granted, I probably wouldn't have money to modify it for quite a while after buying it, but I think it'd be a fun car. I love Nissan. I've always loved Nissan. Nissan and Subaru have always just been my go-to. That's interesting. I didn't know they were in... Yep, Indiana. A lot of Subarus are made in the States now. Oh my goodness. If I could afford it, I would definitely get one 300ZX as another dream car. The twin turbo 300ZX is a nightmare to work on. I've seen those engine bays. They just look awful to try to get your hands in and do absolutely anything in there. I'd take an older Miata over a newer one. Same. And for 33K, I know, right? Way too much for a Miata. I'll go buy a Miata. I see them posted all day for like $3,000. I'll go buy just a beater Miata and play with that. When is the STI reveal? Whenever Subaru announces it. They're just getting around to announcing the BRZ. Foot reveal. Foot reveal. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Still too much money. Yeah. It is Indiana, so I knew it. Searching for affordable coilovers for the BRZ is a joke to me. I heard almost only good things about Fortunato. And then there's this one person who calls FA a knockoff since it's outsourced from Taiwan. What? Fortunato is the go-to for coilovers, always in my opinion. They're made in the States. They're made in Virginia. They make all the parts and they just assemble them all there. There's plenty of videos on it online. I don't know why anyone would say that. By all means, Fortunato is my go-to recommendation for coilovers. I have them on the BRZ. I've used them on the STI. I've used them on past cars. They're always my go-to. Hi, my buddy is trying to sell me his turbo 1995 Impreza L. Interesting, with a blown engine. Oh, oh. If I did, what would be a good engine to swap into this build? Kind of depends on what you want. Personally, I would suggest like snagging a 207. Just dropping it in and you should be pretty much good to go. Just run like a stock location turbo setup with maybe like a 16G turbo and you should be pretty good out the gate. Don't see a lot of older Impreza L's floating around, but I mean, it sounds like a fun build. If you were to swap it, definitely I would consider a 207. You can get them pretty cheap in the States if they've already been imported. If not, you can get them from Canada also, just like a bare 207 long block or even one with accessories for anywhere from like $1,500 to $2,000. When will the 2022 STI come out? Well, my friend, it looks like you answered that in your own question. The 2022. I don't know. I have no idea. Subaru hasn't released any official information about when the new STI or the new WRX is supposed to debut or premiere. We're just getting the information on the new BRZ, so I would guess sometime after Christmas is when we might see any information come out on the new WRX or STI. How much are the new 400Zs going for? Like 40 or 50K? I heard they were going to be around 35,000. No information from Nissan yet on how much the new 400Zs are going to cost, but I'm definitely keeping my eye on it just to see how much they will actually be. How do I like rolling launch? I'm very confused by that. What do you mean rolling launch? Like launch control on the BRZ? I love it. I mean, I've had it on the STI also. It's pretty similar to what we've had on the STI. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but the best used cars are the ones with light mods, like a shelf tune. I mean, I disagree with that one, but we all have our own views. You guys know why I don't like those. I've already touched on that in this, at least in this stream I have. Fortunatos are some of the best coilovers, but you can't forget about BC. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of BC coilovers. All of mine have always seized on me in the past. Hopefully others have had better luck than I have with some of those, but maybe I just got a bad batch. Who knows? Ooh, I have a 13 BRZ and I'm scared to bring it in on the recall for the valves. Yeah, so a lot of people have been complaining about that issue. I took my 13 BRZ in to get the valve recall done. Then again, I trust the dealership that I took it to only because you guys know Matt. Matt works at Subaru, so I know that whenever I take my car down to Subaru Puyallup, the local dealership down here, does killer work. I can always trust them. They're literally the only dealership I trust to do any work on any of my cars. But I totally don't blame you. It's hit or miss with a lot of dealerships out there. What should you do? If I were you, I would take it in, get the recall done. I would heavily monitor everything, and if anything goes wrong, I would tow it back to the dealership, say, hey, car failed after doing a valve recall. This was something related to the service that you guys did, because this is not just a 1Z or 2Z issue. Whenever it comes to the valve spring recall, the majority of the issues were at Toyota, because a lot of the Toyota techs didn't, from what I understand, a lot of the Toyota techs didn't fully understand how to work on a flat engine properly, and there were issues coming from the Toyota side on the FRSs, but the BRZs have had a little bit better luck. Just what I've heard, not confirmed. Just did injectors, flex fuel, turbo, and front mount intercooler in my 06 STI. I def spent some time on this channel. Thanks for all the install videos. Hey, glad all the installs went smooth, my man. Sounds like you got a fun car to play with. Hopefully the tune goes well if you haven't already had your tune. What is a good price for coils on the BRZ platform? I'd say anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200. What I mean, outsource... Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. How much would it cost to clean and resurface EJ237 heads? Depends on the machine shop. I've seen shops charge $100, $250. Depends on the shop that you're taking it to. All right, you guys, we've been going for almost an hour and a half now. I am going to jump off. I got to wake up early tomorrow, and I still got some other stuff I got to do to catch this new BRZ launch. So expect a video tomorrow morning, early tomorrow afternoon, on the official specs and everything like that. We're going to cover it all as Subaru announces it. I might do it as a live stream. I might shoot it as a video and release it that way. We'll find out tomorrow morning, just because it will be like 6 a.m. when all of this is going down. So I greatly appreciate everyone swinging through the stream tomorrow, or tonight. I'm living in the future right now. Appreciate everyone swinging through the stream tonight, kicking it, hanging it out. And as we get information on this new BRZ setup in the morning, I'll definitely cover it for you guys. But hope all you guys had an awesome night. I'm looking forward to catching you guys tomorrow night. And once again, thanks for swinging through the stream, and I will catch you guys in